Basic problems of an economy. This chapter deals with the central, the main, the basic problems of an economy. In every economy of every country, be it a country like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Somalia, Afghanistan, or be it a country like USA, England, Canada, France, Japan, Australia, Germany, in any country, there are some basic economic problems. In every country, the people, the government, the producers, the businessmen, all in the whole country in general, they face certain basic economic problems. Now, before going into the depth of those problems, firstly, we have to discuss what are the causes behind the emergence of those problems. That is, the causes behind the occurrence, behind the emergence of the basic economic problems. Why do these problems arise? Why do the people of the country, the government, all in a country, why do they face such problems? There are three main causes. There are three main causes behind the emergence of basic economic problems. The three causes are: number one, unlimited human wants; number two, limited or scarce resources, SCARCE, scarce resources; and number three, the scarce resources have alternative uses. These three, I repeat: number one, human wants are unlimited; number two, resources are limited or scarce; and number three, the limited or scarce resources have alternative uses. Now let me go into the detail of these three. First one, unlimited human wants. It is a fact. All human beings want more and more. You can hardly find, or I can say you can never find, such a person whose wants are limited. Basically, human wants are unlimited, endless, or limitless. For every human being, more is better. And for every human being, the number of wants increase with age, with scientific and technological development. The wants increase, the wants grow, the wants multiply. When you were a student of nursery class or KG class, at that time, your number of wants and today your number of wants are drastically different. Obviously today, your number of wants are more. You will grow more and more, elder and elder. When your age increases, your number of wants will also increase. This is a basic feature of the human beings, that they want more and more goods, more and more services, different variety of goods and services they want. So this is the first cause why economic problems arise. Second cause, it's very unfortunate that the resources with the help of which we have to fulfill the wants are not unlimited. The resources are scarce, the resources are limited. That is why the problems arise. The resources are short in supply. There is shortage, there is deficiency, there is scarcity of the resources. Had it been that human wants are unlimited and resources are also unlimited, then there would not have been any problem. There would have been no problem in the whole world. But the fact is, we have scarcity of resources. The resources are scarce. Any resource, most of the resources, or we can say all the resources are scarce. Limited resources. For example, if we take a resource like land, land is not abundant, land is not easily available, land is scarce in supply, there is shortage of land. Like in a particular country, the supply of land is fixed, whereas the population of the country is increasing day after day. That is why the shortage of land is visible, is prominent. So this is the second cause. Two causes till now I have discussed. First cause, unlimited human wants. Second cause, limited or scarce resources. Third cause, the scarce resources have alternative uses. That means the scarce resources have many uses. The scarce resources have many uses. Alternative options are there. Uses are there. Alternative uses. Options are there. And that leads to a problem. This problem, which is the outcome of this, the result of this, the problem is problem of choice. Problem of choice. Yes, when options are available for us, then the problem of choice arises. If no option is there, problem is less. But when many options, several options are there, several alternative uses are there, then we fall in a condition of dilemma, confusion. Which one to choose? That's the problem. Let us take the example of land again. I've told you already that land is scarce in supply. There is scarcity of land. Moreover, land has got several uses. Alternative uses are there. Like, if you consider a plot of land, that plot of land can be used for agricultural cultivation practices. That same plot of land can be used for making an industrial unit, or making a building, or making a shopping mall, or a school, or a college, or a children's park, and so many other things. So we find land as a resource is scarce, surely. And land as a resource has alternative uses, many uses there are. This aggravates the problem. This leads to the problem of choice. So these three are the causes behind the emergence of basic economic problems. Now, let me go into the problems now. Move on to the problems. There are 6 problems. There are 6 basic economic problems. Central economic problems. There are 6. Firstly, I will name the 6 problems. Number 1, what to produce. What to produce. This is number 1. Number 2, how to produce. How to produce. Number 3, for whom to produce. For whom to produce. Number 4, problem of fuller utilization of resources. Problem of fuller utilization of resources. Problem number 5, fifth problem, problem of efficient use or utilization of resources. Problem of efficient use or efficient utilization of resources. And problem number 6, problem of economic growth. Problem of economic growth. So these 6 are the problems. Let me start from the first one, that is the problem of what to produce. The very first problem that arises in a country, in an economy, among the people, the government, the producers, all. Firstly, a country has to decide, the economy has to decide what type of commodities are to be produced. What type of commodities are to be produced? Whether it will be capital goods or it will be consumer goods, like this. See, capital goods are those goods which are like tools, implements, machinery, factories. These are capital goods which are used, money also. Tools, equipments, implements, machinery, factories, money. These are all capital goods which are used to produce other goods. Which are used to produce other goods. That is why capital goods. And consumer goods are the final goods which are consumed directly by the final consumers. Like a t-shirt or a shirt is the final good. The cotton, if we consider cotton, that is the raw material. That means capital good. The weaving machine, capital good. The textile mill, capital good, the factory. Then see, capital goods and consumer goods, I've told about these two. Then the decision has to be made. Which type of goods have to be produced? Whether it will be capital goods or it will be consumer goods. Or it can be a decision regarding what type of goods are to be produced. Whether it will be defense goods or it will be civilian goods. I hope you understand defense goods. Defense goods means the goods which are used by the army and military. And civilian goods are the goods which are used by common people, non-army people, non-military people. So this kind of decision has to be made. What type of commodities, which commodities have to be produced? Now that depends on the demand from the people, the need of the people. That depends on these. By the way, this problem of what to produce has actually two aspects. The two aspects are, first aspect, which I've already told, what type of commodities are to be produced. What type of commodities are to be produced? This is the first one. First aspect is this. And the second aspect is, if the decision is already made that this type of commodity is to be produced, then immediately another problem crops up along with this, and that is what quantities of the good, what quantity of the good is to be produced. That means how much to produce. So the second aspect is how much to produce, or what quantity of the good is to be produced. Thus, the problem of what to produce can be divided into two parts. Two aspects are there. First aspect, what commodities are to be produced, what type of goods have to be produced. And second aspect is how much to produce, or what quantity, how much quantity of the good or the commodity is to be produced. So this is the first problem. Problem number two, second problem. How much to produce? How much to produce? This is the problem regarding the technique of production. How to produce. It is how to produce. How to produce means in what way, by adopting what method the production will be done. How to produce. Second problem is how to produce. Now, basically there are two types of, broadly classifying, there are two types of techniques of production which can be adopted to produce the goods and services. The two types of techniques of production are labor intensive technique and capital intensive technique. The names signify what they are. Labor intensive technique is that type of technique of production which uses more labor and less capital, less machines, less money investment, less tools and implements. More laborers are employed and they will do the work manually. That is labor intensive technique of production. Capital intensive technique of production. Capital intensive technique of production is that type of technique of production which uses more capital than labor. Less labor, more capital. That means more money more money investment, more machines, technologically advanced machines, tools and implements, and less laborers will be employed. So these are the two types of techniques of production. Now, the economy has to decide. Once it is decided what type of goods have to be produced, then and there this problem arises. How to produce? How to produce? That means what type of technique of production will be implemented, will be adopted. Now, whether it will be labor intensive technique or capital intensive technique, that decision depends on two factors. That decision depends on two factors. First factor, the relative availability of the resource in the country or the economy or the society. The relative availability of the resource in the country or the society. If a country has more capital, less labor, that means population is less, but that country is capital rich, then obviously that country will use more capital intensive techniques like USA can use, England can use, Germany can use, Japan can use. But if in a country population is large, that means labor force is large, whereas in that country the country is not very capital rich, then obviously that country, like India, that country will adopt labor intensive techniques, more labor intensive techniques. Okay, so this problem is actually the choice of the techniques of production. That is why the problem, second problem, how to produce, is also known as choice of techniques. Choice of techniques. Okay, now we come to point number 3. Problem number 3, third problem. For whom to produce? For whom to produce? That means when the decision is made that this type of commodity is to be produced, at that time only it is indirectly decided for which type of people, for which class of people, for which category of people the production is to be made. So this problem is actually based on the income distribution in the society, the income earning of the people. Suppose if a luxury good which is very expensive is to be produced, then obviously this good, the luxury expensive good, is to be produced for the high income earning class of people. It is not to be produced for the low income earning class of people. Whereas if a cheap, typical mass consumption good means the good, the commodity which is to be used, which can be used or is used by majority of people, common people, lower middle class people, poor people, then if the decision is made that this type of production is to be made, production of a typical poor class mass consumption good, then obviously this production is done for which category of people? Lower middle class, and poor people. That means low income earning people. This problem, the problem of for whom to produce, is based on the income distribution in the society. And that is why this third problem, problem number 3, is considered as or known as the problem of distribution. The problem of distribution. Okay. So far I have discussed 3 problems. The first 3 which are very, very important. Problem of what to produce and how much to produce. Problem of how to produce, number 2. And number 3, problem of for whom to produce. Now number 4, problem of fuller utilization of resources. It is a problem that many of us, many a times, we do not use the resources available to us in the right manner. We do not use the resources fully. We make underutilization of the resource. Sometimes we keep the resources idle, unutilized, or sometimes underutilized. That's very true, and that is why the problem. We know it very well that the resources are scarce. The resources are not abundant for us, not very easily available. But still, we very often, I've found, we do not make use of the resources fully. We keep some resources idle, unutilized, underutilized. Yes, like I'm giving an example. Often I found on both sides of the railway track when I travel by train that I found many a times some barren land where nothing is done. That those plots of land are unutilized totally. No cultivation, no agricultural cultivation takes place. No building, no factory, nothing is done. Absolutely, it is kept as idle land. That means we are not using the resource land fully. Is it that land is very easily available? Is it that land is abundant for us? No. Then we should use the resource land to the fullest extent. But we are not doing that. That is why it's a problem. As we are not doing it, that is why it's a problem. Fifth problem. Problem of efficient use of resources. Problem of efficient use of resources. This is problem number 5. A very similar thing to problem number 4. Yes, we often do not use the resources fully but efficiently also. We do not use the resources in the right manner, in the most efficient manner. We should use the resources most efficiently. Sometimes we waste the resources. We just keep it idle and waste, or we overuse the resources which is not required. We have to keep it, we have to conserve it, and then we have to use very judiciously, very wisely. But we don't. Like I have found, many a times I have found in the corner of the street or the road, there is a tap, municipality tap. And I have found, so many times I have found this, that water is running freely through that tap, but nobody is there. There is nobody there, but from the tap the water is flowing away. That means somebody who had taken water from this tap earlier, the last person, had kept it open. That means we are wasting the water resource. Yes, that man or we can realize the importance of water, this resource, if there is shortage of water. Otherwise we may not. But the ultimate thing is, we are not using the resource water to the right in the right manner. If we use the resource in the right manner, if we put the resource to the best possible use, we call it economizing of resources. Economizing of resources. Not wasting the resource and putting the resource to the best use, then we call it economizing of resource. Now we come to problem number 6, the last one. Economic growth. Problem of economic growth. Firstly, when do we say that there is economic growth in a country? There is economic growth in a country when the per head income, per capita income, real per capita income or per capita output in the country increases. Per head income, average income of each person in the country increases. Then we say economic growth is there. To say this, it may be very easy. I've said this. But in order to have economic growth, in order to have an increase in the per capita income or per head income over the years, over a long period of time, it's not so easy. Because the people of the country, the people of the economy, they have to work harder, they have to produce more goods, they have to produce more services, then they can earn more. Then their income earning will be more, and the per capita income of the country will be increasing. But that's not so easy. More resources should be available, more resources should be used, technology must be upgraded, then people can the workers in the country, the laborers in the country, they can produce more goods, more services, and then only they can earn more. Income earning can be increasing. If that happens, then there is economic growth. So this is a problem. This is a problem, severe problem in an economy. So these are the 6 basic economic problems or central economic problems.